So my name is Carol Driscoll, and I'm the executive director of the Carving Studio and Sculpture Center. And we have this series of artist talks just to give insight to a lot of the work that is being done out there. It is my great pleasure to introduce Hirokazu Fukawa, who is going to be an artist in residence this summer. He received his BA in social science at Waseda University, followed by studying graphic design at Musashino Art University, and then came to the States and received his MFA in sculpture from the Rhode Island School of Design. He has been a professor for more than 2 decades at the University of Harvard and is currently teaching in a low residency program at the Maine College of Art. And he is a conceptual artist working with sculpture, installation, video, photography, and drawing. Through his artistic practice, Hiro bridges art and everyday life by using puns and humor to play visual and intellectual games as aesthetic experiences. Fukawa has an extensive exhibition history at many nonprofit galleries and museums throughout the United States, such as John F. Kennedy Center, Carnegie Mellon University, University of Colorado Museum in Boulder, to name a few. And he's also exhibited internationally in Japan, Italy, and Germany, among other locations. He's received numerous awards from the New Boston Fund, the Edward C. and Ann Roberts Foundation, and the National Endowment for the Arts. His video and short films were recently screened in 2024 and received recognition in Italy, Australia, Sweden, India, and the UK. Some of which I'll just mention a few. Sydney Film and Screenplay Festival, where he was a finalist at Sydney, Australia. The Manchester Liftoff Film Festival, where his film was selected in the UK. Stockholm Short Festival, where he was a semi-finalist. He has attempted to join us at the Carving Studio and Sculpture Center to realize a project that we are very excited about. And at this point, I would like to just let Hiro continue or introduce himself and his work.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity, and then thanks for signing in this time. I really appreciate this opportunity, especially this summer. I'm really excited about it. Carving stone. Stone is not my expertise at all, but I'm working on it. So I show you a little bit later. I'm working on. Yeah, thank you for the Carol for the introduction. That was quite well. The only one thing I have to correct was I was not teaching at the Harvard University.
Oh, no, Hartford.
Hartford, yes. So that mistake often makes me really feel good, though. All right. Should I start? Or okay. How do I do? Let me do first share the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. Okay. Oh, hopefully this works.
Yeah.
Did you see trees?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm gonna start playing. Okay. So this is the title of my lecture. Introduction on my works today. Basically, the piece. Well, I show you some pieces, of course, but probably it's better to introduce how I work. So this title, parallel structure, is about metaphor. That shows one thing, but it's pointing something else. So show the one things, but this, things like, let's say a piece is actually pointing somewhere else. That's the how metaphor works. So that's what I'm actually trying to do. So when we understand one thing, so we understand it with its structure comes as a package, such as experience interlock with the world rather than just the world itself, comes with visual in case of art. This is a structure that includes the world and the experience. This experience is pretty important at a time. In the metaphor, one structure of the package is pointing out another package that has the same structure with different words or different visual. And there is no obvious visual resemblance between two. So that's how metaphor works, right? So this means important part is not the world, but two different experiences we have. Greater this distance between two, the impact of the metaphor becomes stronger. This we call the artistic or aesthetic leap. This image is not about, so this is the image from my film. This image is not about the metaphor, but about the structure and shows how we look at the one things, but understand differently by person to person. Because the word is the same, let's say, what you're looking at, right? So some people say the water. Some people say something else, leaves or colors. People say all different kinds of things. Sorry, I forgot, running the film. So these words, let's say leaves or colors, those are just the word. And then it's all the same for everybody. But the leaves to each people has they have own different experiences. So just the word leaf is quite different. So understanding visual images are parallel to understanding language. This way of our brain system make metaphors so interesting, and we interact with them as artistic experience. The space between image and language create our intellectual pressure. I call this intellectual aesthetics. So that's why I call the parallel structure pressure meaningless metaphor. So that's the long kind of like premises. I show you the three pieces from this the group show I did myself and Jovan Kyo and Oru Oguibe. So it's called the Strange Names. It's a strange name we three of us have. So that's why we started doing this. I'm not gonna go to other people this time. So I'm gonna go jump into the first piece. Let's see. So this is the piece. I'm kind of like talking about facing death. It's just the blue glass. So, but this came from this text. There are times I wish we could fly, knowing that this is impossible. I wish I could get selective lobotomy and rearrange my sense so that all I could see is the color blue, no images or forms, no sound or sensations. This was written by David Ujnalovic. So he's a great artist. Unfortunately, he passed away in, I believe, end of 80s. So it's supposed to make this, but I made this way. So there is some difference. I'm sorry, I messed up the order. Hold on. I have to go back. Here we go. So, so this case, I sense myself great empathy on this text, but there is something divide him and myself. Does anyone sense disappear in this sentence? He passed away, as I mentioned it, after he wrote this sentence, essays by A's. So it is, this essay itself it's a pretty heavy reading, but in terms of emotion. So when I made this, I wanted to ponder his death and then my death too. I didn't want to make the same. I wanted to give viewers just the blue sky rather than completely blue. So then this way you can see the blue sky more blue and then cloudy sky blue. So that's why my intention, that is the intention. So it's not, this is a little too much for me. So because this relates to the next piece, which is I mistakenly showed a little bit. So this is another piece related to the death. In this case is my death, which didn't happen. But anyway, I have a bad habit. This is a quite literal and bad sense of humor. I almost did several years ago. I believe it was the year Carol actually gave me a studio residency. I believe it's the second time. So anyway, the blue is disappear. Surely death, because he passed away and he knew it. Mine is only near death. So it's drip on the floor, this blood. Not quite yet, even when it's critical time, I wasn't conscious. I was wait for the death unconsciously. So I was on the bed and then I was totally not knowing anything. But he was awake and then he just experienced the prolonged death. So anyway, at the time, a bunch of doctors had to give me a lot of transfusion. Literally, it's American blood stream into my body. That is the reason for floating blood puddles. It's not really settled, not really grounded feeling, but something weird. So American blood is mixed into Japanese ones, right? So it's weird about the banana. So yellow outside and then white inside. Though both red in this case, I'm talking about a blood. Why do I say this? It's funny coincidence. There is right next to this particular piece, my friend Joe Kyo had another piece which is about his childhood issue. So any Asian kid who grew up this country was told banana. It was funny. Why it's a banana? As I said, yellow outside and white inside. And it used to be that was a Twinkie, right? So this is Joe's piece. I'm not talk about a lot. So that's the reason why I said banana. It's really weird, kind of like a things, this room. So the next piece I want to show is, let I go, my cursor. Come on. Seems I can't find my cursor. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is called the one dimension of desert. So desert is usually it's a burst space, but I was reading sci-fi stories, but I can't remember what story was. It was, but the one sentence, one dimension of desert, that's really kind of stuck on my head. I really can't figure out why, but the desert is one dimension. So I was kind of like thinking about that. And then it's like, first I thought tightrope is in the middle of air was one dimension. So adding sand on it. And then myself, imagine I becomes an ant and then crawling on this tightrope endlessly, forever with thirst. So that was kind of like my image of the one dimension of desert. So I try to make it the literally how it looked like. So that's why I made this. So I'm going to show you another few pieces from other show. This was my one-person show. It's called The Fabulous Object. It's called the Black Rain too. So it's black rain is the radioactive rain that fell just right after nuclear blast. It's a very thick rain. And then, again, it's radioactive. So I used the glasses. I pulled a cane and create the rainfall, and then black rain puddle. So this is a rain puddle on the forest, small forest. Of course, this photograph is Nagasaki, and then this map is Hiroshima. Red part is actually in this chart, it's actually blue part was black rain was appeared, and then a lot of people actually, get the black rain and the radioactive sickness happens, but it's only red area was government support, and the rest of area, the red lines and the blue area, even they knew it was rain, black rain, and the radiation rain was, like a fell, but government doesn't help. It was really kind of like a crazy idea. So that's why this is very limited area of rain. Okay, so this is another piece. It's called St. John the Buddha. So the photograph is my friend. His name is John. He has a beautiful head shape that reminds me of Buddha's one. I was collecting the seashell at the time without any clear intention. The moment I saw his head, Eureka, like a Buddha's Satori, I started to glue seashells on his head to create a spiral head to elevate him to the saint. Again, this is another bad sense of humor, but I like the visual pun. Here is another one. This isn't really solve the problem. Well, I explained why. So yeah, it's actually, there's a few different versions of this piece, but still not really quite fit myself. So this is a detail. So it's this is a quotation from Carlos Castaneda. I began to perspire. I leaned towards Dunfans to tell him I was afraid. His face was a few inches from mine. He was looking at me, but his eyes were the eye of B. They looked like round glasses that had a light of their own in darkness. So this sentence, again, it's really inspired me. So I made this piece, but I really don't know what to do with Donphan's body. So that's why I get, this is kind of very abstract form, just the plywood and then wood block. So I attached the two eyes, this side and the other side. So I'm supposed to show the eye, but I really don't know what exactly I should do. I still not quite solved yet. So the next piece, so obviously you can see the Maravich is black and red, square, but I added in human dimensions here. You may realize red square is not square. So of course, left side is, like a Maravich is painting and the drawings where they're supposed to be, but my, piece appropriating from his work, it's above sort of three dimension, but I want to call the human dimension because the red for the eroticism by lipsticks. I painted with the lipsticks. And then darkness, human darkness for the black is actually void. Even, if you stick your hands into this black square, you can't reach the bottom, the end. It's a void. So that's why I call the squares in human dimension rather than 2D paintings. So the following three pieces these two pieces came from here. As you probably know, Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights. So if you do it right things this world, you can go center or left, yeah. But if you do it something wrong, you gotta go the right, right? So of course, I was interested in the right side. So here, you see the three pictures. One of the top was brought up part of the left. So this part of the painting. So if you go to the hell, so you did something wrong, you found this skate shoes, and then you try to skating on the pond, but the pond isn't really frozen yet. So let's see, this doesn't work. So make it a boat. So the skate shoes becomes a boat, but also doesn't work, and then it sinks. So this is kind of funny and then so fascinated idea. And then even why, hell has a skate shoes. But anyway, I made skate shoes like this. And then, I made another shoe here. Also, this is a part of the Bosch's paintings. So this part of painting, and then art historian explains this man is harvesting own forests of the gambling. So if you do the gamble, you gotta go to the hell. So that's the point. But do you care? I don't care. But I was fascinated by this, monsters wearing, it's called a pattern, something like that. I'm not really sure exactly how to pronounce, but so I made this pattern out of solid aluminum. So I casted aluminum this shape, and I made it, like this pattern sandal like things. It's very uncomfortable to wear. I almost broke my ankle with this. So then I start to see those kind of three-pointed, this is the pattern, and of course, you see the picture. This is the famous Van Eyck, the painting, and then on the floor, this things was thrown on the floor, but not really art historian explain about this. Some art historian even talk about a dog, but it's not this. So I was kind of interested to making it. So I made this. So that those three kind of shoes becomes my kind of the triplets. So this is the idea from the Keiko's Evil Genius of a King. So those 2D things, I try to make it 3D and then see how it looked like. So that's kind of bring to this exhibition. You see the Evil King things is over there, and then on the wall there's a Maravich things. It's same kind of cities, and then this in the front piece came from this Duro's Melancholy One. Of course, the cue ball came from this magic square diagram. And so I made some of those objects by myself and then installed it, but it's quite a different way. And I also draw the wings because, this angel's wing, angels is sort of ethereal entity. It's not like a human kind of, fleshy body. So if that's, ethereal entity, there's no reason to have wings. And then it's like, if, compared with a bird, if the fleshy body you have, like an angel had, then those wings are too small to fly. So that's why I thought angels' wings are fabulous object. So that's the, this entire show is called a fabulous object. And the last piece I'm going to show is Lascaux's Bard, very famous paintings. And then no one know what those paintings means. Since the inception, no one knows what it is, that concept, contemporary art, right? So this is, my piece is aluminum rubber ducky on the stick. It has philosophical secret, but no one knows. All right, so this is my presentation of my sculpture. And the next image is actually stone I'm actually working on. So working progress piece. So all those pieces were, it's not quite, like a stone carving. Why I have to go to the, carving studio in the residency. This is a good reason I have. So this is still, I just started and it's not quite done yet. I'm making big ears, left ear. This came from the story of Japanese old story. It's, we know this is a historical story, but this horror story is, we don't really know when it was established. But anyway, this story is about the 13th centuries. It's a horror story. The Hoich is blind monk, and he plays the biwa, which is sort of Mandarin type of, guitar or something like that instruments, and then sing and then tell the story. And then one of the famous one is Tale of Heike. It's a tragic, epic, historical story. He was taken by a ghost to their place and played the song, that story for the noble ghost in that story. So it's kind of nesting story. So the ghost listen to their own perishing stories. He started to losing his vital each night. So every night, the ghost come to the Hoichi and then take him to the graveyard. But for the Hoichi, it's a big palace. It's not the graveyard. So he played this story in the graveyard every night. So he started losing his vitals. The one day, his master realized what's going on. And this master wrote the spell directly on his body, entire body. He wrote the spell by, Sumi. And then he was the Hoichi was waiting for the ghost to come that night. And then, of course, ghost came, but ghost couldn't see Hoichi because of that spell. Spell actually hide Hoichi's body. So the ghost was bewildered and then looked around very hard. Eventually, he found 2 ears floating on the air. And then, he kind of gave up to look for the Hoichi, but he has to have excuse not bring back to Hoichi to other nobles. So he was trying to get Hoichi's ear, which is no spell on it. So eventually, Ghost succeeded to take his Hoichi's ears to bring him back to the graveyard. So he lost ears, but he spared his life. So actually, his master forgot write the spell on his ears. So I make one of those ears. So this is a black granite, so it's going to be very black. So I'm really excited about it. Oh, hold on a second. So, oh, you know what? Well, I gotta show, I forgot, this was a video on that. Oh, not on that. Okay, never mind. So do I have still time a little bit?
Yes.
Like 4 minutes or so? Okay.
Yeah.
So then I show you this kind of, it's not quite trailer like a trailer, but the several years, well, more than several years, I'm working on the film. And then 3 of them, I make it a very small short. So it's going to be a 4 minute. You can just take a look at it. And then, but I said a film, but don't expect it something narrative, adventurous action movie or anything like that. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Gosh, almost get there, but and the mistake. How about this? All right. This is a Fukushima project. I went there like 4 times to create this video. It's actually, there is a 3 separate films. Deserted cherry blossom trees, no one there, no one walking, no cars goes, but time goes by. So this is the, I saw what I saw in there. So it's, yeah, it's just only traffic lights blinking for nothing. So this is a town. Once they had so much money out of the nuclear reactors. So those are all radioactive waste they collected. They have to treat that. And then this is only a small portion of it. The next is my first sort of narrative stories, but it's based on all the comic stories. It's about 200 years ago, the story is, but I transformed. It used to be human and then foxes are a very close relationship. And then they live almost very closely, but it's not anymore. The last one is very new. I just finished in December. It seems receiving pretty good so far. I was working with this dancer, contemporary dancer. She was pretty good. She kind of played the Shrine Maiden and then came down to the city to know this is a foretelling, so kind of fortune telling story. If at the desk, if you're standing in the street crossroad, the demons tells you, spirits tells you what's gonna happen, but you have to go to the like leaders to tell what you heard. So it's kind of interesting to kind of parallel relation to the current psychiatric therapy. All right, I think that's the end. And then if you're interested in my work, you can go to the fukawa.org, so you can see a whole bunch of stuff over there. Thank you. So should I stop sharing?
Yes, it's beautiful
Thank you.
visually. Yeah.
So
It,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, I guess I just wanted to mention that the imagery, you can experience it on its own, but it's obviously so enhanced by what you're propelled by and inspired by and interpreting. And now when I think back to the definition of a metaphor or how you think it travels, it's really little light bulb went off. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I can take some questions if you have, but of course, if you're not.
Thing I appreciated very much is your sense of humor. There's something about your vision of the world that is both dark and humorous at the same time. I wonder how you manage that.
Well, yeah, well, yeah, it is kind of the dark. So that's why I have to do something, work with a sense of humor. So otherwise it's going sunken down. It's like some of my theme was pretty depressing actually. It caused myself depressed actually, literally. So, sense of humor has always helped me and it helps somebody else. And it's always a good way to communicate, I guess.
So is it possible to go back to I see Joe is here and the graphics that were part of that exhibit.
Joe's piece?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? I have to find the presentation. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I have to share, right?
Yes.
Jesus, this is not easy. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I have to do this. Yes, so let's see. I have to share first. Oop. And then share. Then
Yep.
oh, play. So much switches.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it's better to talk Joe himself.
Yeah, it's the context that Hiro you put on with your piece in relation to this one, I think. Yeah, again, I think the metaphor is just it takes so many forms. And Joe, if there's anything that you'd like to, say about the piece, it's humorous, and yet it's tied in with pretty profound thinking. So if you have anything to offer, in relation to the other two exhibitors, they do tie in. I'm just wondering if there's anything that you could offer.
There's like an interplay between the exterior and interior. Like the metaphors I'm using here are the Twinkie and the banana. A Twinkie is yellow on the outside, a banana is yellow on the outside. Right. And throughout history, yellow has been equated to being Asian and the Asian model minority myth and so on. And so it's all about this interplay about what you want to show on the outside, the exterior, the facade, but also there's something else deeper and darker inside. These equivalents, these racial slurs or these racial symbolisms, in a sense, become their own metaphors, become their own art object. They spew certain vile, but yet you have to admit they carry such a substance, a weight, and a power. And this was juxtaposed with the current advent of COVID at the time, and there was lots of anti-Asian hate, and this was an article about that, and I stenciled, stale Twinkies and bruised bananas, diet or riot. No, it's this play with like, do I continue to perpetuate these tropes, these racial tropes, during these times where we're being attacked, Asians are being attacked for supposedly being the source and origin of the pandemic, and using it as a way to show this conflict. Like, here I am in this country, and how do I feel comfortable? How do I feel safe in my own skin? How do I feel safe in my own peel as a banana? Or how do I feel safe with my delicious sweet filling with my my cake outside? It's just about taking these very dense, dark, depressing moments, and like a bitter pill, you candy coat it so it's digestible. You're able to, it's palatable. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to access it because it would be so traumatic and so deeply sad. Thus, humor becomes a strategy, becomes a tool. And I think between Hiro and Olu, our understanding of objects, our understanding of history, our understanding of having these strange names really just make the work, the exhibition, very cohesive and harmonious.
Well, especially this case was, the adult is relatively polite, so they're not gonna say Twinkies or bananas, but kids are brutal actually, And then my kids are, also exactly same, experience, the Twinkie, and then, well, my kids are, basically the banana generation. But anyway, those kids are, experiencing this. So that's why, like kind of twisted, sense of humor is very brutal. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
thank you. It's sort of what I got out of it, but it's just so it's powerful. It's powerful in itself, but it's I don't know what to say. It's art, and so the audience is probably, us. I wonder how many of it's like a communication between artists and maybe art appreciators. Is that you take that and hopefully there's something like the connections that you get from all the writers and the other artists that came before you, painters. It's almost like you have this way of communicating to each other, and hopefully it catches the rest of the society, catches up with that and finds ways to make changes. It's almost a vacuum, I'm afraid, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, the videos are stunning, disturbing and hard to look at, and yet beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm quite amazed.
Harry, it was a great presentation. There was something you said about distance creating more impact, and I thought that was such a poignant thing to say. In regards to the metaphor, the distance between the viewer and their interpretation, and how you zoomed in on these objects in these master paintings from art history canon, and you just bring them out and give them their own context and their own platform to elevate it. And I think it's just such a ingenious strategy, and we should get coffee soon.
Well, I wrote down space between the space between oh God, I didn't get it though. Space between blank and language. I think images about the structure. I'm struggling a little bit here, but I think it's similar to what Joe was just saying, that the distance and the viewer, space between language. There was another word in there and I didn't capture it, so. But it had to do about the image and the structure and the object pointing to another package.
Yeah, let's see. In a metaphor, one structure of the package is pointing out another package that has the same structure with different words. And there's no obvious visual resemblance between two. This means important part is not the word, but the two different experiences. Greater this distance between two, the impact of metaphor becomes stronger. So is that a part you're looking for?
Yeah, it was just yes, but I think the distance and the viewer is a little bit.
I said a different way.
Yeah, no, it's something about the language between the.
Oh, yeah, okay. This way of our brain system makes metaphors so interesting, and then we interact with them as artistic experiences. The space between image and the language create our intellectual pressure.
That was it.
I call it intellectual aesthetics.
Yeah. Anyway, it's got some lasting power here. I really appreciate it. I do feel like it's a little much in terms of all of this work that you've done. But I think I'm starting to understand.
Thank you, that's good. I hope so, yeah.
No, it's going to make it much easier to introduce concepts when you're here
Yeah,
at the
definitely.
Vermont.
I have 1 month, yes, that's great.
Well, thank you very much. If there aren't any other questions, then I just want to thank you again and hope that some of you will be able to see him at the studio in August of this summer.
Great. Well, thank you for this opportunity, and then thank you for come to see this.